name is Abhishek Jain and welcome back to the shell script tutorial series part 2. Let's quickly do the recap what we had covered in the previous video. In the previous video we just covered the brief history how the shell script has been evolved. Then we understood what is shell. Then we understand what is shell script and why do we need it and when to use it in a very briefly, but definitely in an upcoming series you will get to know the more sense when to use it and why to use it. And we wrote two scripts, one script without Shebang and the one script just combining all the few basic command like make, directory, cd and touch. And then we just made it how we can just make them executable, right? Now to define a topic, what we're going to cover in today's video is I just wanted to cover more conceptual knowledge around Shebang command, why do we need it and when to use it, why do we need it and when to use it, and this we're gonna do for all the topic which we're gonna cover, when to use it and why do we need it, right? Second thing I wanted to cover a more use case for the exit command. The last one but not the least is the CHmod command to provide more detail how the CHmod works and how it is important for us to understand before we actually get into the more advanced topic on the shell scripting. So let's quickly jump into the demo part. Okay, so let's quickly see what we had covered. So in the previous video, if you remember, we created this first script, right? And if I just run this first script, because this first script, let's quickly open it and see what we have in this. So if you remember, we don't have any Shebang command here, but as I mentioned in my previous video, it's really important because this is the command which actually tells under which shell interpreter this particular script needs to be run. And it is really important in real time because in the real time your script would be very complicated and you will be using a lot of command, and there is a high probability that one shell is supporting that command but the another shell is not supporting that command. So at that point of time, Shebang command really help us to make sure that all the commands which we are defining or through which we are building our shell script is supported in that particular shell. So right now you can see, so let me just give you some more realistic environment so you will get the Shebang concept correctly, right? So in first script you will see it's not executable, and if I just try to run it, it gives a permission denied, right? Let's see if I just run with this sh command. Sh command is actually telling the system, okay, now whatever file you are passing, it has to be run inside the sh or the bash interpreter, right? If I just give this, still this script is not executable. And see this first script, okay, this I just spell it wrongly, it is first. Okay, let's see what happens. Test1 is already existing, so that folder is already existing, this file is already existing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna delete this test1 folder itself and I'm just gonna run this script again. See, this time it ran, though it is not executable because this particular file is not yet given a permission to become executable, right? So what happens is if I just delete that folder again, okay, and this time I'm just gonna use a CHmod which I did in a previous video, and I just give this first script.sh, okay, and if I run this first script, it's going to run inside the default shell script. It's not giving any problem, right? So why it is important, so I just very quickly covered that, right? So in real time, as I mentioned, there would be very complicated commands which may not be supported in a different shell, and if you do that, then there would be a risk that the user who is going to use your script, it may run your script in a different shell. So in that case, script is going to be failed. So that is where the Shebang becomes very important, right? So if you have any script which doesn't have a Shebang command, you can always run by explicitly giving under which shell you want to run it without making that particular script is executable. Okay, so the next thing, so I hope you got it, how to use Shebang and why it is important, right? Now the next point which I wanted to cover in this video is related to some more detail about the exit command, right? So we developed another script in the previous video, first hello world, where we actually use the Shebang as well as an exit command, right? So if I just remove, so here we have an exit followed by some numbers, right? So this number is actually tells the return code of this shell script. So when you run this and when you use this exit command, it actually tells, okay, this is the last command which you need to run, and whatever number you are giving, that is going to be the return code of your shell script, right? So if I run, how we can check that? Okay, so to check that, if I run this hello world, it has been run. There is a very special command, dollar then we have question mark, and if I just execute this, it is going to give us a 0. Okay, let's do one more interesting thing here. Okay, if I just put, let's see, I just put, let's see, 3. Okay, and let's see what happens if I just execute this script now again. So I'm just gonna run this script again. I'm going to just, so if this dollar question mark command, it's a special command which actually stores the execution of a last command. So last command was execution of that script, right? So execution of a script, exit with the number 3. So this is going to be the return code of that script, right? So that is why we are getting 3 and this dollar question mark. So don't worry about all these special variables. In upcoming videos, definitely I'll be going to cover in more detail about all the special variable, because those special variable are very handy when you actually build a real-time based application, and without special variable you cannot do it, because that really ease down a lot of stuff for us when it comes to developing a real-time script. Okay, so this is the very important concept of exit. And the another use case when we use why do we need to include an exit is because in real time you will not be having a very standalone simple script. You will be having a collection of script, and most of the time you will be having a wrapper script. Inside that you will be running 2 or 3 scripts, and one script is dependent on the execution of the previous one. So it's really important to put a proper exit code for all the logic which you have in a one script, so that next script which is dependent on the previous one will always get to know by just checking this dollar question mark symbol and see whether your last script has been run successfully or not. And that is what you can do it with the exit, by giving a proper the number through which you can check whether the same return code is being returned or not, and based on that you can just continue with the rest of the script logic. So that is from the exit perspective. The last command which we want to cover is the chmod, which is really important. And I hope if you have a working experience, you know that, I mean, if you want to just see what all options any command has, there is a command man chmod, and you can see what all options we have. So let me just quickly cover that from the script, from the shell script perspective. What for what purpose we need this chmod. You would have already seen one of the use case where we just, if we want to make any file or any shell script executable, we have to give a plus x. So x stands for executable, and apart from x there is 2 more options. W stands for write, and then read, R stands for read. Okay, so, and there are 3 different entities. If is equal to all, then we have u equals to owner, who is the owner of the file. Then we have a G stands for group, and then we have O equals to others, apart from the owner and the groups, right? So that is how so if I want to, let's say, I want to remove the permission, right? And if I want to if I want to give a permission, so in that case I have to give let's quickly do that with the demo. So ls minus ltr. Okay, so in first script everybody has executable road, right? So chmod, if I just remove a minus x from first script, then it is going to remove ls minus ltr, and let's see what we are getting here. See, this has been removed, right? And if I just wanted to give, let's say, only the owner should be executable, should be able to execute it, right? Then I will be using u plus x. And if I just put ls minus ltr, then only the owner, basically who has developed this script, is going to get that. So the first 3 character is for owner, the next 3 is for the group, and the last 3 is for the others, right? And definitely I can I can just come up with a new video where I will be just giving a more detail on chmod, but it is really important. I think from the concept perspective, this would be we will be needing in a going forward the tutorial series, that chmod. And I think we most of the time we are either making a shell script executable, or we will be removing that, depending upon the situation, what kind of business use case we are trying to build with the shell script. So that's it from my side for this particular video. If you have any feedback or any suggestion, please feel free to put that in comment. But if there is any concept which is not clear and I was not able to just simplify that in a manner which is easily understandable for you, please put that also in a comment section, so that I can improve on my upcoming videos, so it would be very easy for you to understand. So as always, if you really like this video, please subscribe for my channel, and also share with the others who can just get the benefit out of these videos. And as always,